Interruption, but I'm Mike Wilbon. Tony, someone in an online auction just paid $112,000 for Kurt Signetti's headset.
I'm Tony Kornheiser. I don't know how I did that. I was trying to order takeout. I don't know what happened.
You know, I thought you had, somebody order your takeout. I didn't think you did that on your own.
I order my own takeout, and I go get my own takeout.
Well,
I don't have people drive over to my house. I don't do that. I get my own takeout. I want to make sure it's the food I ordered.
Bring my takeout. Bring it to me. Bring my doorbell. Maybe you get a big tip.
I'll do that. Welcome to PTI, boys and girls. In today's episode, Arizona loses, Michaela Schifrin does not medal, and Jeff Saturday joins us for 5 good minutes. But we begin today with last night's NBA game between Detroit and Charlotte. Detroit won and stopped the Hornets' win streak at 9, but that's not the headline. The headline is a brawl that resulted in 4 people being thrown out, 2 from each team. It was a highly competitive, chippy game that at least demonstrated what happens when players care, but there was a big fight. Wilbon, is this the type of game the NBA should frown on or applaud?
Tony, I've done sort of a 180. I'm watching this last night, and I'm thinking, no, the NBA doesn't need this. It harkens back to a time, for those of us who are old enough, and you and I are, where there were flat-out brawls in the NBA, and then David Stern came along and said, there'll be no more of that, and he pretty much disappeared. I mean, like hockey brawls, pretty much, not entirely, disappeared. But, Tony, I'm watching this last night, and the intensity of the game, there's context to everything, as we like to say. The intensity of a game, Charlotte, I'm sure the Pistons, even though the Pistons is a long time since their last championship, they look at Charlotte and say, what? What are you doing out here? We're leading the Eastern Conference. Charlotte had won 9 straight games, and they're a different team. And they're saying, no, we're not having that bad boys junk out here now. And I thought, this is great. I came to think before I went to sleep, this is great for the league. It wasn't a fist swinging, nobody got knocked out or hurt brawl. Somebody's going to probably get suspended for a game. But, Tony, I just thought, wow, my juices got flowing. I heard other players say, we don't want this to go too far, but this didn't go too far. I thought it set the tone for something coming.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree more just watching the clips that I watched. It's a fight. It was a real fight. It was not contained to one set of people.
No,
it broke out on the other side as well. I can't believe you take this position. You hate all hockey fights, and suddenly you're saying that an NBA fight is okay and gets you juiced up. There is a lot of nostalgia that people like you and I have for policemen in the lane, for hard fouls, for power forwards. But fights are fights, and they're not good. There's too much, posing by athletes when they get a sack, when they get an interception, when they make a touchdown, when they throw down a dunk. There's too much, look at me, I'm a tough guy.
Yeah.
And to me, Mike, if you want to get rid of this, it's a very easy way to do it. You disincentivize it. I'll just take 10 more seconds. You suspend people. You look at the tape. You see who's the aggressor. You suspend him for 20 games without pay. You hurt him. You hurt the team. Does the commissioner of basketball have the stones to say,
no,
we're going to get rid of this stuff? Okay, well,
but Tony, this isn't that to me.
I look at it differently.
And there's a different context. I said context. I didn't watch the clips. I watched the whole thing, what led up to it and what followed. Now, you described it accurately. It did spread, and you got guys like Isaiah Stewart, and you got Bridges, and they seem to be involved in stuff. And a previous commissioner, you and I agree, would have sat their butts down. I don't know that we see that coming, but the heat, this league is criticized legitimately for having no passion until the playoffs. I'm one of the people who criticizes them for it. There was passion last night.
It was passion overload, Mike.
Maybe,
it was too much. It led to a real fight. We moved to college basketball, where the premier game last night was undefeated 23-0 Arizona, going to number 9 Kansas. As you predicted, Wilbon, Kansas won. And they won without their best player and the possible number 1 overall draft pick, Darren Peterson, who had flu-like symptoms. Wilbon, you said yesterday you are now diving into college basketball.
Yeah.
So what does this result say to you about each team?
Tony, it says more about that conference, the Big 12. I mean, my goodness. I mean, look, Arizona, I would not drop Arizona one spot. I still leave them at number 1, even though they lost that game in Kansas. Kansas is supposed to win that game. I know they'd actually historically never won exactly that type of game before. But come on, you and I look at Bill Self in Kansas and know what that program is. They're supposed to win that game. I expect them to win that game. The 6'10" kid from Kokomo, Indiana. Kokomo. He's a wonder, and he's one of those guys that, to me, he blocked that shot late in the game that really kept Arizona from being able to make it even tighter than it was. Tony, there's so many good players in college basketball. We're only going to see them 1 year because most of them, if not all of them, are freshmen. Maybe there's a couple of sophomores sprinkled in there. But what it says about college basketball is the Big 12 is to be reckoned with. As great as the Big 10 is right now, the Big 12 is to be reckoned with. And I can't wait to see more of both these teams.
Big 12 has 4 teams in the top 10 right now. They got Arizona at 1. They got Iowa State at 3, and Kansas has to go there on Saturday. I'm sorry, they have Houston at 3. They have Iowa State at 5. Kansas has to go there, and they have Kansas in the top 10. Look, this thing says 2 things. One, it says Kansas is a really good program.
Yes.
It's an elite program. They've won 4 national championships with 3 different coaches, Fog Allen, Larry Brown, and Bill Self. Roy Williams was there, didn't win. He's a great coach. They've been beating teams for a long time when they come there. Bill Self's record against ranked teams at home is 83-15. Let me repeat that number, 83-15. So he knows what he's doing. The second thing it tells us is Arizona's not going to be undefeated. Nobody's going to be undefeated. Last undefeated team was Indiana in 1976. It's 50 years ago. Better teams than Arizona have not been undefeated.
That's right.
You're going to see these 2 teams in the top 2 lines when the seedings come out. They're really good teams. It's not an upset, and it's not surprising.
By the way, Tony,
it's not.
By the way, what does it say about Kansas, though, that someone who we think is their best player, Peterson, is out and has missed a string of games, and they seem to find a way.
Yeah, they're a good team. They're an elite program. They're a good team.
And maybe they're a great team. Wow, there are a lot of good teams right now in college hoops. And we're going to turn, though, to Michaela Schifrin's growing Olympic disappointment. Schifrin and Breezy Johnson were paired in today's team combined event. Johnson was the fastest in the downhill portion. Schifrin, the most successful World Cup racer of all time, then crossed the line 15th of 18th in the slalom, her best discipline. That dropped Schifrin and Johnson to 4th, meaning Schifrin missed a medal for her 7th straight Olympic race. Tony, you've been invested in Schifrin's plight. What was going through your mind about this?
What goes through my mind is that, in fact, and you give it from all time like you were making fun of it.
No,
she has more World Cup wins. She has more World Cup wins than anyone, any man, any woman, 108. She's at the top of the poll. She is an undeniably great skier, and yet recently in the Olympics, she hasn't had that measure of success. Now, she won gold medals in 2014 and 2018 in slalom events. But she was shut out completely in China. She went 0 for 6, and now she's 0 for 1 and blew a lead that was handed to her. So you know what I think of, Mike? Because we all talk about other sports. It's what we do for a living. You put on your sports writer hat. I think of Greg Maddux and I think of Clayton Kershaw, who were great regular season, great Hall of Fame. I mean, Kershaw's getting in the Hall of Fame on his first ballot. Regular season, Greg Maddux, 355 victories, 610 winning percentage. Playoffs, 11-14. 11-14 in the playoffs in the World Series. Clayton Kershaw, 253 regular season ERA. 699 winning percentage. 13-13 in the playoffs and a 4.62 ERA. I don't know why this happens to them. I don't know why it happens to Schifrin, who's undeniably great. Why does it happen to James Harden in the playoffs? I don't have an explanation.
I wrote down 2 names. And they are pitchers who are going to be Kershaw and Maddux right into the Hall of Fame. There are things about Maddux. I sometimes read now, people will bring up things like he allowed more home runs than walks 1 year. And you're like, what? These things are not possible about Greg Maddux. And Kershaw, yet in October, they weren't great. And so I thought of that when Schifrin, and she's been great, and she's had a moment or two.
Yeah.
Tony, it all seems to be emotional and psychological. And I mean, we could put people on the couch and they could give us explanations that would go on and on and on. Luckily, she's done all right. She doesn't have to just take this as her only contribution and result.
She's great, and she does a lot of self-analysis, and she'll continue to do that. And I root for her. I do. Let's take a break. Coming up, Mike Vrabel says he's committed to keep. The season is over, but Wilbon and I are not done with football yet. We have questions about why the Patriots could not protect Drake May. For our great friend, ESPN NFL analyst Jeff Saturday, let's start with this Patriots tackle, Will Campbell, allowed 14 pressures in the Super Bowl. Today, he said he played with a torn knee ligament in the playoffs, but he wasn't using that as an excuse. When you looked at Campbell, what did you see?
Techniques and fundamentals weren't sound, right? I mean, there's a ton of slander about he and Wilson, the left guard, and the reality is they didn't play well, but neither did Drake May. Forget, this is a rookie left tackle, and it is a very difficult position, and now put on the challenge of going against one of the best, pass rushing defenses in the NFL and get behind, where you're not running the ball well. You look like you're one-dimensional. They took full advantage, but Will Campbell would be just fine. I understand people are bashing him. It didn't look great. It wasn't nearly as bad like the whole 14 pressures and what it all was. I'm just going to let you know, they don't know enough about offensive line play to know what is a pressure and what isn't. He didn't play well, but he wasn't as awful, or it's never as good or bad as what we always say in film. He'll get better, lay off of him a little bit.
All right, that leads us perfectly then to the issue now of Mike Vrabel saying today he's committed to keeping Campbell at left tackle. Jeff, I know you won't be this immodest, but I'm going to say this. You know more about this position and line play than Mike Vrabel. How does this strike you when you hear this?
I agree. Listen, I think he's fully capable of being a good tackle in our game. And I go Andrew Thomas, right, with the New York Giants. Started out, struggled early in his career. He's become a very good left tackle. But there's a lot of left tackles. It all goes down to this argument about arm length and what people think the arm length of a left tackle should always be. And his arms are a little bit short. A vertical set, all of those things, he'll figure this out of when he looks at a rusher where his intercept line should be. Guys, it takes time. Like, they don't line up like they did in college, and they dang sure can't run nearly as fast as they can in college as they can in the pros. So there's a lot of things that happen a lot quicker. The games, the exposure you get to your guard not being on the same level. People will coach him up. This offense, Josh McDaniels, they'll understand pressure plans better. Again, Drake didn't play well. The guard, there was a lot of things going on, and it just all looked much worse because everybody struggled. It wasn't just one guy.
We'll go one level deeper with line play in that Super Bowl. Seattle's Devin Witherspoon said, and I want to get this quote right, we had a tell on their guards and tackles how they like to set. They're going to overset on certain rushes, and they're going to fall for certain moves, close quote. Jeff, explain it, but tell us if it's nonsense.
No, it's 100% true. And guess what? We all got them. We all got them. Like, I wish we didn't, but I can assure you, when it's 3rd and 9, probably not a big secret that we're going to have to throw this thing. And they can tip it off, man. Timing gets thrown off because they get there so quick. They definitely had it. But again, this happens every week. We all have certain stances that we get into as an offensive lineman where we're going to, and it's a sprint to the QB, and everybody in America is watching this play. Of course, you got to tell. It's like there's no way around it. He's got to tell, by the way. The defense has got to tell. We all understand them. They took advantage. The Patriots didn't. Congrats to the Seahawks.
It's really interesting to hear all these things. It really is. We'll get you out of here on this. Well, obviously, we have talked a lot about what went wrong with the Patriots, but when you look at the Seattle defense, which I know you think is great, do you have the sense that it is sustainable?
It is. And I'll be honest with you, I think the thing I was most impressed with that I walked away that very few people are talking about, in fact, I don't know that I've heard anybody really talk about it yet, the physicality. Like all these different guys, they will all hit you in the mouth. They are full participants. People, no one has an answer when somebody hits you in the chin and they are more physical than you. You better either bull that neck up and accept it and go give it back, or they're going to beat on you all day, and that's what happened with the Seahawks.
It's great to have you, Jeff. Thank you for all year. Thank you so much.
That.
Had a blast, fellas. Look forward to doing this again, man. I love you.
Good. Let's take... Happy time, people. Happy 29th birthday, Lily King. As long as we're in the middle of the Winter Olympics, let's wish happy birthday to someone from the Summer Olympics. King is a breaststroker who has competed in 3 different Olympics and won a total of 6 medals. King has a gold from the 4x100 medley relay in Paris in 2024. She has 2 golds from 2016 in Rio de Janeiro. When King won the 100-meter breaststroke at those games, she trash-talked a Russian opponent who'd been suspended for doping, saying after the race, quote, "It was so incredible winning a gold medal and knowing I did it clean," woo, unquote. Man. King also won 2 silvers and a bronze in Tokyo in 2020. This is just to point out that Katie Ledecky is not our only swimmer.
But I think it's fair to say that Miss King was greatly overshadowed her entire Olympic career by Katie Ledecky, who goes all the way back to like 2012.
All the American women.
Yes, all of them.
All the American women overshadowed. And justifiably, she's great. Happy anniversary, Bonnie Blair. Staying with our Olympic thing, we transition to the Winter Olympics and the great speed skater. On this date 34 years ago, Blair won the first gold medal for the United States in the Albertville Games. You were there, Wilbon.
I was.
She won the 500-meter event, defending the gold medal she had won 4 years earlier in Calgary. Blair was actually the first American woman to win gold medals in consecutive Winter Olympics. Blair then won the same event, the 500, 2 years later in Lillehammer, where I watched it. In all, Blair had 5 gold medals and 1 bronze. Her other 2 golds were in the 1,500-meter events in Albertville and Lillehammer.
Maybe my memory's playing tricks, Tone, but it seemed like back then, America was usually the underdog in almost every big Winter Olympic event, right? I'm not crazy. You and I were
certainly
at these
in the speed skating.
Yes.
Certainly in the speed skating. Absolutely. Happy trails to free agency for Justin Verlander. The soon-to-be 43-year-old has agreed to a 1-year deal with the Tigers. Verlander was with Detroit for the first 13 seasons of his extraordinary 20-year career, during which he's won 3 Cys, 2 World Series, and an MVP. He joins a staff that also boasts Tarek Skubal, Framber Valdez, Jack Flaherty, and Casey Mize. Last season, Verlander had a down-and-up season for the Giants, starting 0-8, but finishing strong with a September ERA of 2.08.
The only thing my Cubbies got wrong in that period of time was not getting Verlander in 2017 to repeat. And I'm betting Verlander thought he was going to wind up a Cub. He didn't. History was changed badly for some of us.
Let us go to the big finish. Rick Pitino moved past Roy Williams into 3rd place in wins for men's college basketball coaches. Are you impressed?
He beat his son Richard, which was sort of a wow, and now he's behind Coach K and Boeheim. Yes, you got to be impressed. Steph Curry, out with a right knee soreness and will miss the All-Star game. Your reaction?
It doesn't matter. He's been in thousands of them. You know,
seems like
his great moment was the Olympics last year. Didn't you think? The Olympics. Yeah, with LeBron and Durant. The Sacramento Kings have lost 13 games in a row. What gives?
They could be the most irrelevant team, them and the Chicago Bulls now, in the entire NBA. Indiana announced plans for a statue of one Robert Montgomery Knight. Are you surprised by that?
I'm surprised in the sense that why isn't it up already?
Yeah.
I'm surprised
like 10
by
years
that.
ago.
Last one, Spurs at Lakers tonight. Who you got?
No Luka, no Reeves, no LeBron.